With a look at the top college prospects from across the valley, this is WZDX Sports Special Presentation, National Signing Day. Now your hosts, Mo Carter and Hannah Oliveto.
And good evening, everyone. Mo Carter here. We'll check in with Hannah Oliveto just a little later on. This is one of the longest days of the year for a sports anchor, but it's also one of the most rewarding. And we're talking about National Signing Day. For the next 30 minutes, the WZDX Sports Team will take a journey across the Tennessee Valley with high school signings. We'll also check in with colleges like Alabama A&M and UNA. So we'll start off here in Huntsville at Lee High School. Of course, four-star defense end Malik Langham had kept his decision process to the vest, but this afternoon, he decided to sign on the dotted line with the Florida Gators. He decided to go with it with a ceremony this afternoon on campus. He also had offers to play at schools like Auburn and Alabama. This past season, the four-star defense end recording 104 tackles and 11 sacks. He actually said he chose to go with the Florida Gators because of his relationship with Dan Mullen.
It was a big deal, you know. Them coming with everybody is a big priority. You know, they made me seem like a big priority, and they really want me. You know, he recruited me to Mississippi State, so it's pretty good. You know, when I was down there at Florida, he taught me how to eat a chicken wing, actually. So it was pretty cool. You know, me and him bonded really well.
I will be committing.
Lee had some other players signed today as well, Jalen Humphrey and Isaiah McCauley. They've been longtime friends, and now they're taking their talents to Kentucky Wesleyan. Coach Tony Woods also said he may have more guys signing later on. Now, while some wait for signing day to make their decisions, others commit early. And Westminster Christian's Michael Parker committed to Alabama back in December, and today he made it official in front of friends and family at Westminster Christian. The four-star tight end had offers to play at Auburn and UCS and also Purdue, but his brother Jake is a walk-on at Alabama right now, so he's excited to join him down in T-Town.
It's been my dream my entire life to play football at Alabama, but at the end of the day, it was just the best fit for me as a person, as a player.
Teammate Jordan Smith also signing on the dotted line today. The running back will play at the University of the Cumberlands. It was a really busy day at Bob Jones High School. So busy that Bob Jones alum and current Kansas City Chiefs linebacker Reggie Ragland had to make an appearance. He was also there to root on several guys, which included Gavin Lewis. The three-star defensive end had multiple schools to choose from, including North Carolina and UCLA. And in the end, he is heading to Tar Heel country, so he'll play with UNC. But here's his thing. He chose academics over athletics because that's what the ACC is known for.
SEC, ACC didn't really matter to me. It was going to do best for me outside of football. You know, it was going to prepare me for life. You know, education-wise, you know, if something happened in football, well, I have good education. And ACC is very education-based, you know, at a lot of schools. So, I mean, it was a big, important piece to me.
Patriots standout Cavante Higgins is heading to Tennessee Valley Prep. Three other Bob Jones players chose to take their talents to the Sun Belt Conference. DeMontrez Brown, he's going to Troy, while Cade Kohler and Caleb Lawson are both going to South Alabama. So the teammates now will play each other in one of the Sun Belt Conference's most heated rivalries. And yes, the trash talking has began.
We still gonna have a good friendship, but on the field, I don't think we're gonna be friends. You know, it's between the whistle, everything. You know, and when we off the field, we're gonna be friends. I just love them. You know, and we're gonna play regardless.
Man, me and DeMarcus talk about it every now and then about our rivalry. I mean, we're gonna be playing each other every 4 years we're down there, so I think that'd be a really cool experience for us to do.
It'll be interesting to see what goes on with those guys in the future. Now, over on the Hill, Coach Connell Maynard and his staff, they had about 3 weeks to put together a solid recruiting class. Hannah Oliveto caught up with the new man on the Hill, and she actually joins us live to tell us what happened with Alabama A&M's recruiting class. What's going on, Hannah?
A new era begins here at Alabama A&M as a new head coach takes over the program. Connell Maynard has been working hard trying to get the best players to the Hill. Today, 13 signed on the dotted line to bring the class to 17 total. And alumni got a sneak peek of those signees tonight. And everyone is ready to see what this new Alabama A&M team will be able to accomplish. I was able to catch up with the man himself, Connell Maynard, to see how he's feeling about his first class. Coach, you got here just a few weeks ago, not giving yourself a lot of time to recruit. How challenging has that been?
Very challenging, but it's part of the job.
and we don't mind sacrificing work and staying up late hours watching extra film to get the job done and find the best players possible for Alabama A&M.
An immediate need for the Bulldogs is on offense. They averaged just over 17 points a game last season. Have you been able to add some players to the offense that you think can contribute right away?
We do. Well, we got a quarterback that we signed. Well, we think we'll be fine in the quarterback position, but we still signed a quarterback. And we signed 2 running backs, a speedster, and then we signed an all-purpose running back that can do it all. And we signed 4 wide receivers. So we knew that was a need, and we needed to get some speed and some guys to take the ball to the house, not just possession receivers. And I think we did a good job of that.
On defense, I know you wanted to add some depth on the D-line. Were you able to get some of those guys?
We were. We were able to sign 4 guys on the defensive line, 2 interior guys and 2 ends, which all we think that can come in right now and help us. You know, so it's going to be very competitive. We got some guys that's played last year, and nobody has a job. You got to come in and compete, and that's why we signed those guys to help us. Iron sharpens iron.
The Bulldogs have not had a winning season since 2012. Do you feel like you have what you need to make this team successful?
I do. We don't want to put a timetable on it, but we think we can get this thing turned around pretty fast. And if the guys buy in and work hard, coaches keep working hard. We know it's a tough league and we got a tough schedule, but we feel we can be competitive.
Now, Maynard still has a few scholarships left to give out, and he says those will go to transfers, so we'll have to keep an eye out and see who he adds through the offseason. For now, from Alabama A&M, Hannah Oliveto, WZDX Sports.
All right, thank you so much, Hannah. Coming up after the break, we had to head over to Florence to check in with the UNA Lions. You know, they play Alabama A&M like in week 2, so we'll check in with them. But right now, let's check out some pictures of some other guys who signed today. Welcome back, everyone. The UNA Lions are moving on up like the Jeffersons, except they aren't going to an East Side apartment. Instead, they're heading up to Division I. That opens up new opportunities on the recruiting trail. Now, Coach Chris Willis and his staff adding 21 freshman signees for the 2018 class, as well as 3 transfers, and they will need all the help they can get to compete on the next level. Hannah Oliveto, she's been running back and forth here and there. She actually caught up with Coach Willis earlier, and she has more.
The UNA Lions are stepping it up a notch in recruiting as head coach Chris Willis gets his program ready for its first season in Division I. Coach, how has recruiting been different for you this year?
Well, you know, in the past in Division II, there was no limitations on the number of guys you could bring in. You know, we may bring 41 guys on a visit and sign 38. You know, we've been known to sign 45. Once again, there's no limitations. You can have 120 on the roster, 125, 130 if you wanted to. But in the FCS level, you can only report with 105. I guess the biggest thing we're battling right now is the fact that we're competing against other FCS level programs who've already gone through the transition and are established. And so, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say that we didn't lose a guy or 2. Yeah, we lost some guys, which every school around the country's lost a guy or 2 today, whether they admit it or not. But overall, my coaches worked extremely hard. We put together a really good class. It's all about the future and building for the future. And I would say overall it's been really good.
While you are moving up, you're not eligible for postseason play for 4 years. Has that been an obstacle you've had to overcome?
In some ways it has. You know, not overall. It's, you know, we've still gotten a lot of kids that didn't seem to bother them. They want to come play football here. And but, you know, I think where it comes into play is against the schools that have been in the playoffs here recently. If they've been in the last year or 2, they've used it against us a little bit, and which is I would too. The
biggest area of need for you is at quarterback. Have you been able to add some players that you're excited about?
Well, we added one right now, and it's a high school kid out of Gulf Shores, Files, and we're, you know, I want to get a high school kid in here. I want to get a guy in here that we can build the program with. I go back to the Luke Wingo and Jacob Tucker days when they were high school guys, and so. You know, there's a chance we're going to sign another high school kid, and we're also going to probably sign a transfer. One thing we're going to make sure is we got enough quarterbacks to pick from this year.
You're going to renew your rivalry with Alabama A&M. How exciting is that for the team?
Well, really, that's for, you know, our fan base. I can only imagine, you know, the games are going to start changing now. You'll see different opponents on there, and a lot of them from the old days and bringing back a lot of the history. So I can imagine that game's going to be standing room only when we arrive. That's week 2, and it ought to be fun. It's just right up the road, and I look forward to it.
All right, Coach, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, that will do it from Florence for now. Hannah Oliveto, WZDX Sports.
Thanks, Hannah. Let's check out some guys in UNA's signing class. Quite a few are from right here in the Tennessee Valley. Over at Florence, 2 players are signing on the dotted line for the Lions. Jacob Gentle will add depth to the offensive line, and Nate Reed will join up with the defensive backs. They're happy to actually be staying at home, and these two know each other very well, and they're excited to play on the same team on the next level.
Nate, he's been my best friend since 5th grade, so that's a big plus. He's one of my real good friends, so I enjoy that.
We've been good friends since we were real young, so it'd be real good to have him there with me.
I just really like the area. I like being on the water down here. I like all the coaches at UNA, and I like the players, and UNA's had a real good football team.
I picked UNA because I think it would be a good place for me. It's home, so it's not really different. I like that.
4 others signed at Florence today. Charlie Maxwell is going to Alabama State. His twin brother, Joe Maxwell, going to Bowling Green. Kicker Nathan Cobb taking his talents to West Alabama, and Zarian Billings is heading over to Delta State. Muscle Shoals running back Carlos Davis taking his talents way down south. The Trojans running back chose South Alabama today over Tennessee Tech, Jacksonville State, and Sanford. The 3-star running back had nearly 1,700 yards and 16 touchdowns in just 11 games last season. He actually committed just over a week ago with his official visit, and he wants to be a Jaguar, and he says that the efforts to get there was worth it.
This hard work pays off. I knew time was going to come with the big mobile cover the side, and so kept pushing, kept working hard, all them morning workouts, grinding, getting broken down. It all pays off at the end.
Coming back closer to home in Decatur, Austin's Antonio Robinson signed his national letter of intent with Coastal Carolina. This past season, Auburn's new running back Asa Martin and Robinson ran over all the opponents. Robinson rushed for almost 1,400 yards and 21 touchdowns. He's excited to take his talents to the next level.
It's amazing, a great opportunity. It was what I dreamed of ever since being a kid. I always wanted to go Division I and make it to the NFL, and I finally get the chance to do so.
A number of other Black Bears signed today. Marquise Robinson signs with FAU. Darryl Pointer's going to Kentucky Wesleyan, and Zachary Fox with UT Chattanooga.
Serious one first, okay?
When we return on the WZDX National Signing Day special, I'll be joined by this guy, Arky Shea from the UMP, who has some very interesting knowledge to let me know.
Yeah, the Alabama National Signing Day dynasty is dead.
Find out why when we return here on WZDX.
Now back to WZDX Sports special presentation of National Signing Day.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time to jump into college football recruiting, and who else but Arky Shea from the UMP to talk about what's going on with the recruiting stages. Now, Arky, according to Rivals.com, we have seen Alabama dominate the recruiting ranks for the last couple of years. But let's take a look at this. Georgia is number 1, Alabama number 7. In most cases, 7 is a lucky number, but what's going on with Alabama? Are they losing their lust in the recruiting standpoints?
You know, that's an interesting thing you bring up, Mo, because Alabama has found themselves in a bit of a quandary because this year it's been a little different with the numbers. They don't have the 25 guys yet that they can be able to put on and basically make up those rankings like Georgia has, Ohio State has, USC has. They put together a lot of numbers. Alabama just, I think, 18 commits right now when you get up to 25, and they've got a lot of 5-stars and a lot of 4-stars, but Georgia's really coming and taking a bunch of guys from Alabama, and that's really been the upset so far.
All right. Also with Coach Nick Saban and company, I don't know. I just feel kind of crazy because I'm not used to seeing this, but I'm also not used to seeing Auburn being like 12 because they're usually in the top 10 rankings as well.
Yeah, Auburn was looking for their 5th consecutive top 10 class and were unable to really do it. The loss of Justin Ross out of Phoenix City to Clemson was a big hurt to the Tigers. But again, Auburn's another team that's looking for needs more than anything else, and to be able to get guys like Anoysis Miller to be able to go on that defensive line is good for them, but they just really didn't have the needs that everyone else needed, and it's all a numbers game really when you look at it. To get to the 25, that's the number that everybody wants, but with the early signing day, it really kind of broke that down and made it really hard for guys to be able to do it from December to now in here in February.
Absolutely. You mentioned some players. Justin Ross, the top ranked player in the state, he shuns Auburn and he shuns Alabama to go to Clemson, but he says he feels he can be a better receiver at Clemson. That's why he's going with Dabo and company. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, he can be a better receiver at Clemson than he can at Auburn. Probably not Alabama, though. Alabama's looking for big guys, and they already signed Ayobi Anami, who is a 6'5" receiver out of Florida. So they could really use the kind of big guys because Alabama has a lot of slot receivers at this point, but they could really use a guy who is 6'5" and really a guy who can go get the ball. Justin Ross becomes just the third player to be #1 in the state to leave the state of Alabama since 2000. That goes back to Jameis Winston was the most recent one,
right.
And then Chad Jackson, who went to Florida back in 2003. So it's really a big deal not to see one of these guys go to Alabama or to Auburn.
And quickly, a local guy, Malik Langham, had Auburn, had Alabama, had Vanderbilt, and he decided to go with Dan Mullen in Florida.
Yeah, you know, I love what Malik Langham can do. He's a big 6'5" defensive end. We've seen him play here a lot at Lee. He can disrupt, and he can play immediately at Florida, and that's the big thing. Dan Mullen needs a lot of help on that defensive line. He's replacing a lot of guys. His first recruiting class for Dan Mullen in the top 20. First time, he only did that once while he was at Mississippi State, by the way. And to be able to see him come in and do this now in year one, and to get a guy like Malik Langham right out of here in North Alabama, that's probably one of the steals here that Dan Mullen was able to do here at National Signing Day.
All right, thank you, Arky Shea. He's here talking about recruiting rankings of both Alabama and Auburn. There's more on the WZDX National Signing Day special. When we return, we'll check out some more local guys and see where they're taking their talents to the next level. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Now back to WZDX Sports special presentation of National Signing Day.
Take a look at some of these other guys from across the Tennessee Valley who had a chance to put the pen on the paper and sign national letters of intent. They are taking their talents to the next level all around the way. I mean, we've got so many guys who are playing Division I, II, III, NAIA level college football. Old man once told me, as long as you had an opportunity to get somebody else to pay for your school, you should go ahead and just take it as long as it is a right thing. So congratulations to all our guys who have decided to take their talents to the next level. But hey, we aren't finished yet here on the WZDX National Signing Day special. May Jemison head coach Kelvis White, he has sent a lot of young men to play college football, and that streak did not end today on National Signing Day. All right, let's take you over to May Jemison High School. Leading the way for the Jaguars was defensive end Charles Coleman. The All-State performer is taking his talents down to Mobile to play for the South Alabama Jaguars. Two of his teammates are also staying in state. Mitchell Smiley is following a family tradition by going to Miles College. His grandfather played on an undefeated Golden Bears team in the 1950s. Peter Proctor heading to Huntingdon College in Montgomery, where he'll play under head coach Mike Turk. I actually covered Coach Turk many years when I was down in Montgomery. Former First Down Friday Night MVP Harry Crump, he's heading to Huntington Community College for a couple of years, and then who knows where we'll be at, probably land at a D1 school afterwards. And Jalen Mackin and Jawan Phillips, they're going to the University of the Cumberlands. Afterwards, we talked to a very proud Kelvis White, who's happy to see his guys take that next step.
Well, it makes you proud. I know a lot of these guys starting out in youth league football, that's one of their dreams is to play at the next level, and they're getting the opportunity. So I'm proud of them for accomplishing their goals. And like I said, it's just the beginning. They still have ways to go, but it's a step in the right direction. And like I said, I think all these schools are getting quality football players, but they're getting quality kids also.
From one White brother to another, of course, LaRon White is at Sparkman, and today he had 6 senators taking their talents to the next level. Devin Kimbrough, he's heading to Lindsey Wilson College. Ethan Castleberry is going to the Virginia Military Institute. David Adams going to Georgetown College. Nick Jarrett to Garden City Junior College, and Isaac Edwards is going to Delta State. We spoke with Edwards, and he says that Delta State was the perfect fit for him.
I chose the school because when I went on the visit, I felt like home. It was family oriented. I really did feel like home.
All right, let's take you over to Huntsville High School now. They had a total of 8 signees today. 3 are heading to the new Tennessee Valley Prep School. Also, others include Faulkner University, Birmingham Southern, VMI, and offensive lineman Boots Ellett. He's going to Georgetown College. And another offensive lineman, Jackson Roby, he's rolling with the Crimson Tide as a preferred walk-on. He says it feels great to honor a wonderful family legacy.
I'm really excited. I feel blessed. I'm thankful. I have an opportunity to play where my family's played. My grandfather and both my uncles and my cousin, and now it's my turn.
And we'll cap things off at Grissom and show some love to special teams. How about love for the kicker? Tigers kicker Jacob Kingsford signing a national letter of intent with Huntingdon College down in Montgomery. He made it official today in front of a crowd filled with his family and friends. He'll play under head coach Mike Turk, and he says Huntington was the perfect school for him.
felt like a really good family community, and it felt like the place I belonged. They actually won their conference championship 3 times the last 3 years in a row, so I'm pretty excited about that. It's a winning program, and they really make you feel like you belong there.
All right, taking a look at some other signings. These guys represent Madison Academy. C.J. Hansen going to Alabama State, Jalen Bracken to UNA, Tyler Green to the University of Cumberland, and Sean Dorney to Arkansas Tech. Their signing days will actually be in the upcoming days, so tune in to WZDX and we'll check them out and show you what they did on those days. This has been a very fun-filled day, but it is time to go home, everyone. I'd like to thank everyone who helped out on the National Signing Day, special for our entire staff here at WZDX. I'm Mo Carter. Have yourself a great night, and I guess we'll do this next year on National Signing Day.